Hi, welcome to this quick 5 tips that I think are most important about Logic Update 11.1. There are plenty of videos out there that are about 30 minutes long explaining every single detail. I'm just going to go very quickly through the 5 I think are the most useful. I'll put a link above to loads more of these Logic Pro quick tips, and don't forget, like and subscribe is always appreciated. So, the first one we are going to look at is the search function. If I am, say, adding a software instrument now, when I click in the instrument box, it instantly goes to a search option. So if I start typing Symbalom, I instantly find the instrument. Really handy. It also works with MIDI effects and pretty much any other box, even sends. So if you're trying to find a bus, if you'd labelled them, that would be really quick now too. So have a look out for search functions anytime you click on anything in Logic. Next, reverb. They've added a new reverb. It's in the reverb section and it's called Quantec Room Simulator. It's based on a very popular model. Apple actually acquired the rights and the algorithms. So there are 2 versions, the QRS and the Yardstick. The Yardstick has a few more functions that you can play around with, but essentially its main selling points are the fact you can have an absolutely massive reverb time. You can even freeze that reverb time as it's going, so that's going to hold out now until I turn it off. You've got room size to choose from. As you go from left to right, it adjusts the reverb time to a suggested setting for you. So if we have a massive room, it's going to suggest a low reverb time. You can override that like so. You could also do an entirely dry mix, or get rid of the dry, so you've now only got the reverb. And the other thing you can do is play around with which frequencies. If I go to some extremes there, the high frequencies are going to be affected by the reverb more than the low frequencies. So let's put the dry back in. So the low frequencies are decaying quicker. If I play them both together, you can hear the low frequencies have gone off quicker. So that makes for some interesting effects to play around with. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Next up, quick delete. If you hold down the command key and hover over an instrument, or if I want to get rid of this reverb now, instead of having to click and choose no plugin and getting all fiddly, all I do is hold down command, the eraser pops up and I just click and it's gone. Magic. Tip number 4, this mastering assistant that they added can get a bit annoying when you are in some of the mixer views or hovering around here trying to add audio effects and people end up accidentally clicking on it. There is now an option to get rid of that. So if I go to Logic Settings, View, and go to the mixer options, I can turn to show the mastering assistant button on the stereo out or not. So I can actually turn that off from there, or turn it back on indeed. And finally, the one that I think is probably the biggest game changer is the fact you can now reorder instruments from the mixer view. So if you were busy composing and you ended up with lots of different tracks with different instruments on, now you're concentrating on the mixer and you realise, oh, all my strings are over here. What you would previously have to do is come up to the tracks view and rearrange things. Now you can just do it by clicking and dragging. So you click, it gets a little highlight around it and you can move it around. The other clever thing is Again, using Command or Shift if they're next to each other, you can grab multiple instruments. So if I want all the string instruments next to the piano, select them all with Command, click, hold, and they group themselves together. So that makes things really easy. There you go. They're my 5 top tips. Like and subscribe is always appreciated, and have fun playing with the new Logic 11.1 update. See you in the next video. Bye for now.